Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of Timesphere for the new year. It's been a minute. Scott and I have changed, and by changed I mean nothing has changed at all except for how much games we've been playing, how many games we've been playing. Because as usual, the games industry is still on fire. If you haven't noticed, the new year has not changed that. And man, are we, Scott? Let's start this off with this discussion because for those of you who didn't read the title, or depending on how I titled this episode, this is our 2025 discussion of just like a couple things that we think are going to happen, and then some things we're excited for. We're just kind of talking about the new year in general.
Mhm.
Scott, are we doomed to repeat the last 2 years in the games industry this year? I want to start with this because
Um,
it feels like at the start of the year, other than like the looming uh Nintendo Switch 2 reveal that is being
mhm.
piecemealed out slowly but surely, and maybe by the time this comes out it'll have been revealed and we'll do an emergency episode on Monday or something, the Monday after this. But um are we doomed, because it feels like the start of the year has not been congruent to improvement.
I feel like we are, I wouldn't say doomed to repeat ourselves because I think there will be some repetition because I think we're going to have the same thing we had these last couple of years where it's like a lot of really good games come out, and for consumers in the games industry, I think you're going to be fine. You're going to have plenty of good stuff to play. It's just the professionals behind the industry, the developers who will continue to lose jobs, and publishers who continue to overspend, and executives continue to take too much in terms of bonuses and salaries. And I think that's doomed. That's certainly going to repeat itself. So um, I hope. I mean, I just want to see. I want to see game devs start to unionize more. That's really what I want to see. Otherwise, I think we are going to keep seeing. Um, we are going to see some essentially more of what we saw last year in terms of layoffs and studio closures and things like that.
Well, the good news is, I would have brought this up if we were going to talk about unionization. I think the King portion of Activision Blizzard is
Mm-hmm.
unionizing
Great.
because of some private thing that happened internally. I think I saw Rebecca Valentine post something about that
Mm-hmm.
on Blue Sky this morning. I didn't go read it because I was busy setting up for this, but if that, like, it sounds like it's becoming a more common, just like one issue pops up and it's
Yeah,
unionization time, which it
and
shouldn't be even be an issue. It should just be unionization time.
you're right, and they have the every developer and every studio should the workers should unionize, but they especially have, I guess, more leverage because think of how many mobile games that King is
Yep.
responsible for, and how much revenue that mobile games bring in, and how much profit they bring in. And if you weigh the costs of making Candy Crush versus a big AAA release. Um, that being said, it's not like only mobile developers. That being said, you shouldn't be only allowed to unionize if you're profitable. In
Yep.
fact, the whole purpose of unions is that if you aren't profitable because of reasons that are outside of the
Your
control of the
control.
people
Yep.
actually making the games, they're the ones who should lose their jobs for it. But until unionization really takes over, then I don't think we're going to see a lot of that this year. So, like I said, I think we'll get some more good games, but we're also going to get some more cancellations, some studio closures, some layoffs. We've already got some. It's been 2 weeks, and yeah. So
Well, just look at it this way. And this is a discussion we'll probably have to have like an expert on when it comes to like
mhm,
finances and kind of like the state of the games industry, just to have like a deeper discussion. But
mhm.
did you see the stuff reported on like the Call of Duty costs?
Was it like 200 million that it goes into
It's
each?
I believe I wrote about it in a recap, and I believe Black Ops, what, not the Black Ops, 2020's game,
Hmm.
2022 game, the one of the remakes,
Hmm.
one of the Modern Warfare remakes cost like $700 million, and that was in like 2020.
Oh, for Black Ops Cold War,
Yeah.
according to Stephen Totillo for GameFile.
Yep,
Um,
that's the source. Shout out
by
Steven, by
compare
the way. Go
by
read GameFile. Give him
yeah,
money.
great
give
newsletter.
give Steven money. I will scream this from the top of my heavens. GameFile is like one of very few like reliable like independent like reportings
Yeah.
happening.
So he says Black Ops 3 450 Black Ops 3 in 2015
Yep.
450 million, sold about 43 million copies. Modern Warfare
Hmm.
2019 640 million, 41 million copies. Black
Yep.
Ops
And
Cold
then Black
War
Ops Cold War.
700 million, 30 million copies. So I mean that's the wrong way to go. That's the
Yeah,
wrong
but see,
direction.
here's the
Cost going
issue.
up and units
You
sold.
look at so here's the deal. That does not take into account what is being accounted for in costs. Obviously, probably
Mhm.
doesn't account for marketing because that's usually a separate thing outside of the game budget.
Mhm.
But is that the full development afterwards too? Is that like
Mhm.
allotted budget for DLC, allotted budget for expansions, allotted budget
Mhm.
for whatever crossovers and like skins and all these other things that are being added?
Mhm.
Because even though the sales are going down, they're probably making more money now than they were on sales because of
Yeah.
microtransactions. So,
Right, especially now it's on Game Pass because people, the idea of, I mean, I don't know exactly how profitable. I mean, there's a whole thing that just came out recently about like Game Pass and Microsoft's profitability.
mm,
But if people have Game Pass already and they're not spending the full amount on buying Black Ops 6 in this case, then they would be more willing to part ways with money for microtransactions. At least that's what Call of Duty and Activision and Microsoft have all told themselves is what's going to happen. Whether or not that's actually happened, it's a good question.
yeah, I mean, and that's not even taking into account that I'm sure the budget for friggin' Black Ops 6 is insanely higher than even now. But
Yeah.
man, I don't know. Like that's a discussion for another day. Is like the rising cost in game dev at the highest
Mm-hmm.
level and how sustainable some of those things are. Because Call of Duty is like one of the few games that can like actually justify the lapping the next highest
Yeah.
essentially when it comes to like these
Mm-hmm.
releases because I think the next highest one is like Genshin
Mm-hmm.
Impact, but that's mostly accounting for like the initial cost plus like it's only growing because each subsequent giant update plus like upkeep for that game adds more to the cost, and that's why it's second or
Mm-hmm.
number one or whatever it is now. Obviously, GTA 6 is going to be insanely expensive to make. We're never going to know
Yeah.
the specifics behind that. We're not going to learn a lot of these specifics. We only learn these specifics on these select Call of Duty games, and there's a reason they were those select ones is because there were
Mm-hmm.
like it was because it was in a court filing.
It was in a court filing.
Yeah,
I think it was related to
the Uvalde shooting. Yeah,
Uvalde
the
shooting,
Uvalde
which
school
it seems
shooting.
like a
Yep.
really unfounded claim. It's like, why
It's just the
we're
people
playing
going
video games
after.
again?
Yep,
Yeah.
they're going after
I
video
understand they're
games.
hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
It was specifically because those were the games that were listed by the parents as ones that the like some kids involved or some like
right.
some arbitrary like these are the ones they played. So they
Mhm.
basically had to give
Yeah.
information about those games to the court, and that's why we're hearing
Yeah.
about them. So
But
we're not going to learn
speaking
about
of
a lot of
GTA,
this.
yeah, speaking of GTA 6, that's a big highlight for 2025. Do we want to get into what we think will happen this year?
Yeah, and I can literally start off because one of mine is about GTA or GTA 6.
GTA 6, go ahead.
I was going to say GTA 6 is going to launch this year,
Okay.
will be a complete mess at launch, and will still
Hmm.
break every game sales record imaginable.
That sounds right.
So I don't know yet how quantifiable this will be because it's only going to be on console as of what we know now because they're not doing the PC launch day and date.
Yeah, which
Uh,
they didn't do last time.
they didn't do last time. Didn't matter.
Hmm.
The whole point is okay. I don't think it's going to matter here because that's going to sell consoles. Anybody on the
Yep.
fence because it's not going to be backwards. It's not going to be on PS4. This is going to sell insane amounts of PlayStations and insane amounts of Xboxes. Uh, it's I still think it's going to suffer from a lot of the same issues that GTA 5 had at launch, but
Hmm.
obviously those are mitigated because at launch we are going to see this be the first GTA game that is probably going to have a focus on online at launch in
Yeah.
terms of like the content that they are going to have because with GTA 5 they saw the tail end of that and how impressive and how insanely
Hmm.
profitable the online element of that game is, so there's no way they're
Hmm.
going to limit themselves to having a just multiplayer or just like
Yeah.
custom lobbies or whatever. They're going to try and have some form of what GTA Online is now in
Hmm.
GTA 6.
Yeah.
The question is then how much content is that going to account
Hmm.
for? How are the servers going to handle it? When it's the most played game of the year by bar none, like maybe except for like Fortnite or something, but those are free
Hmm.
to play numbers. Like you can't account for that. I think it's going to suffer from a lot of the same issues that GTA 5 had at PC launch when there was the online already there, but like it ran into other issues along with that online. So Peter.
Yeah, for video watch for video for video watchers there, or for audio listeners, in case you're not watching on video, Peter's walked across my desk, but you can only see his tail. I'm curious to see how much I want to see how much their focus on multiplayer and the online portion is going to affect how much resources and time they put into the story, because now and listen, Rockstar is still at a place. Rockstar is still one of the few developers I trust to like not like mess things up. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
the game will be buggy and perhaps even broken at launch, but like it I mean, think about how many people are going to be getting this game, and like if there is a and if it does launch with online multiplayer, then that is going to the servers are going to there's no amount of servers that GTA can get ahead of
It is
time
going to
that are
crumble.
going to be
It is
enough.
going to
It's gonna,
crumble, and
yeah.
there's no way it's not going to crumble. I
Um,
don't think we have to worry about the single player stuff because I know that like those are two separate teams. Like they have
yeah.
the narrative team and the people that are crafting that and
I
developing
just
that, and then they
it's
also
so
have
easy to
the
be yeah, it's just so easy to be pessimistic that they're like, oh well, this made all the money. Let's just focus on this. But yeah,
but they didn't do that with Red
I
Dead
right, they
because
didn't do that with Red
yeah,
Dead.
because
But I think
GTA
but
5's
yeah.
online was post like Red Dead 2 was post GTA Online already exploding,
Mhm,
and they tried to implement it into Red Dead, and it was successful,
mhm,
but not nearly to that amount. And then they cut it. They cut focus
mhm.
on it. So
Yeah.
I think Rockstar is well aware. And your concerns aren't unfounded, and I'm sure a lot of people
Yeah.
also have those concerns. But I don't
With
think the things are
mhm.
that
With
bad.
Red Dead 2 though, I think, because of because of that series, I think that series does have, people obviously care more about the single player than the multiplayer. Whereas
Yeah,
with GTA, I don't think that's necessarily the case. And so and so but I trust you, and I trust Rockstar to do the right thing. Listen, I most of the blood in my veins is Scottish, so I have to root for Rockstar. You know, I always like to tell my dad, who's from Edinburgh, I'm like, they make GTA where in Edinburgh. He goes, what? I'm like, yeah, what they do. I'm like, he's confused by that. But that's always fun. But yeah, this is gonna be one of the most expensive games ever made.
it's going to
It's
cost.
going
I
to
mean, the
be
rumored cost is what, like over $1 billion
it's
over
like
two.
2 billion. It's
Like
insane.
the cost to make it, and then like they're already like speculating that it's going to make that money back just on launch or like
Yeah.
just around launch. And it's like that GTA is going this GTA game, whether whatever the case, reviewing well, previewing well, if there's no previews and reviews because they don't want to launch it, like they don't want to give
Hmm.
people early access or anything like that to spoil anything, um is going to be the biggest media drop ever.
Hmm.
Like it's going to be bigger than any movie. It's going to be bigger than any TV show. It's going to be bigger than any video game. It's like
Yeah.
GTA is the media. Like it is the thing. It is the thing that will make the most money, have the most like impact, have the most everything. So there's no way Rockstar. We still could see a delay. They were teasing
That's what I was gonna
something.
ask. The part of your take, I think I have the biggest question
Is that
about
it's
is
this
whether or
year?
not it is coming out in 2025, and I think it will too. I think we got, obviously 2025 just started. We got a lot of time. Do they have a date yet, or is it
No, they
just
were
like
teasing
seasonal,
something. There was something
like
teasing about like some
fall?
videos getting deleted for like something on the 21st because they always do something on the 21st when like a new GTA is around the corner or something.
Hmm.
I'm not a
Yeah.
GTA person. I have no idea. This is just me going off my gut of like people are scared
Hmm.
of when the reason we don't have more games like slated for like late this year yet is because people are scared
No
of
one. Yeah.
GTA.
It,
The only people that are not scared of GTA are Nintendo. And that's because Nintendo does not care.
it's and very different markets.
Exactly.
Like the
Like
people like.
Nintendo would see GTA launching on like the Friday and be like, "Yeah, we'll launch a Zelda there." Like they don't care. It'd hurt sales a little bit.
New Mario Kart, not just a map pack, a new one.
Yeah, like
Fuck you.
yeah,
We're the better driving game.
that kind of stuff. Like they wouldn't
Yeah,
care, but
no,
because it would
I
minimally affect sales. Because if you're a Nintendo
exactly
person, you're going to be with Nintendo, and if
right.
you're more of a GTA person, guess what? You'll go play GTA, and then once you're done doing GTA, you'll if you like Nintendo, you'll go get the Nintendo thing. Like
Right.
Nintendo doesn't care as much, but I do think the biggest question mark is if it will launch this year. I think we're probably going to get more info about it soon because they're not going to put it in like any presentation. They're just going to do their own thing. So maybe
You
on the
must
21st we
be.
get
Yeah.
something. about like a date or like a release window to hear a bit more about it. Obviously, I believe Red Dead 2 did get delayed from its initial launch window into the next year.
Yes.
So
Yes, it did.
there is a non-zero chance that this does get delayed into
Mhm.
2026. Um, and who knows, maybe that's what they want to do, but I don't think they care. I think if it's ready, they're gonna ship it just because they're gonna,
Mhm.
regardless of if it's ready for launch, it's gonna have enough issues to work through to begin with. It's GTA 6 is going to launch in what equivalent is what the equivalent to a triple A or quadruple A, because this will be the closest we ever get to a quadruple A game.
Mhm.
Sorry Ubisoft, but
Wait, Skull and Bones
yeah,
was
Skull and
gonna be
Bones,
good.
yeah. This will be, it will be the equivalent of a triple A early access game,
Yeah.
because that's what it is. It's not gonna be the scale of one. It's not gonna be like, it's not gonna be
No,
the,
you never know.
well, you know what I mean. Like, it's not gonna be like, there's gonna be more content in it than any early access game ever,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's still going to have a lot to work through, and that it's going to be better when it eventually
Mhm.
launches on PC, even if the PC launch is going to have its own issues. So
Right.
we'll get around to that, but I do think it's going to be this year, and then yeah, I think it's going to be a mess at launch, but it's going to still break every record, and
Mhm.
who knows how much else it's going to make, just metric tons of money, and restart the whole
Mhm.
cycle of, wow, games are the biggest media on the planet. It's like, cool, can we stop having layoffs like they aren't though?
Yeah.
So, all right, Scott, your turn. What's your first
Okay.
of your
Uh,
takes?
I'll start on the smaller side. And I'll saying a little sooner than later. I think that Assassin's Creed Shadows, and this was kind of a tame take. This one's a little boring. I don't think it's going to save, nor will it doom Ubisoft. I think it's just going to push a decision that the company has to make. It's just going to push it down the line until
You
later.
think it's going to be good enough that it's not going to do anything bad to the reputation or like the current state
Right.
of Ubisoft, but it's not going to be like 20 million, 30 million seller in like the first couple, like first year plus. It's not
Yeah,
going to
I
like
think that
turn
I think it's
heads.
gonna be one of the better reviewed. I think it's gonna be a game. I think one of the better Ubisoft games in a while.
That's not hard.
It's certainly gonna. I know it's a low bar. It's certainly gonna outperform Outlaws. And listen, I've been one of the biggest Outlaws defenders. I've talked about here on this show. But there were issues with it. I think it'll be better. I'm glad they're taking the extra month to one give it just they say polished. What more can you do in just a single month? I think they just want to get out of the way of games of other games, especially like Monster Hunter Wilds and Avowed and things
Excuse
like
you.
that.
Do you know what day it's launching on now?
What's it launching on now?
It's launching on March 20th. Do you know what comes out on March 20th, Scott?
Some weeb shit. I don't care.
I literally,
Xenoblade Chronicles X.
literally made a note when we're gonna talk about games we're excited for. I said Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. Sorry, AC Shadows.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, sorry, Xenoblade or whatever, but no, this is. I don't think
no, that it's a good date
different
to
markets.
launch on for now. Who knows what else will be in that window by the time we get to it. I mean, March is looking pretty full already, so they're probably
Mhm,
safe from getting any surprises thrown in, unless Sony drops like a direct and then has a surprise thing coming
mhm,
out. Maybe because we're getting the Xbox thing in like next week too. So maybe they have something to drop in that, but they've already got Avowed coming out, and that's what AC Shadows is moving out of that
mhm,
like moving. It's moving out of the Avowed, Yakuza,
mhm.
Yakuza pirate in Hawaii, like,
Pirate,
excuse me,
Yakuza Pirate Gang.
like a dragon, Yakuza pirate in Hawaii.
Mhm,
And then yeah, Monster Hunter Wild. It's moving out of that trifecta, which is a good move,
yeah.
just because those three are going to be, who knows how Avowed's going to review, but it's going to be a game that people are interested in. And then Yakuza players are not going to ditch Yakuza to go play Assassin's Creed.
Right.
And then Monster Hunter is going to take over the world for like a solid
Um,
month.
but I think this will be I think it will be reviewed pretty well. I think here's specifically what I'm going to see. We're going to see people outlets refer to it as a return to form for Ubisoft, and then we're going to see those same alt right grifters complain that that is like paid for marketing that Ubisoft is paying publishers to
Mm.
do. Like they said, like because that's the same thing that they complained about when Veilguard released, and people said it was a Bioware return to form. They're like, oh, they're paying them to use return to form in all their reviews. Look at all the look. They're like, look at all the reviews who use the phrase return to form. It's like, you mean all the reviews use this extremely common phrase when I'm talking about things like
You mean
this?
all the reviews that are like only what 5, 6, 7 outlets have people that are like
Right.
that have like actual like maybe the people that are reviewing those games are just talking out of their heart instead of talking out of their
Hmm.
English degrees.
Right.
Like
Right.
it,
Degrees.
hey, I got a degree in journalism.
I sort of did. I got a minor in journalism
Yeah,
halfway through because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with my current degree.
yeah.
Let's add something more
Like
useful.
there are certain people that like go out of their way to change their wording and make sure it's
Yeah.
individualized. I'm not going to get into talking about reviews. I
Right.
agree. I don't think
But
Ubisoft is getting saved off of this. I don't think Ubisoft is
I
in
don't think
such a weird place.
this isn't sinking the
No.
ship. They're in a very weird place. I think that the way to March helps. I think that it's going to come out on Steam is super useful. Thank God they're finally,
Yeah,
because
they
like
should have done
I
this
think
years ago.
Outlaws could have done a lot better if they released on Steam. And like I was in pure copia mode, being like, oh yeah, when they do the late release on Steam and then the game's improved, people will buy it. I doubt that's happened. But coming out on Steam day one, that's going to be a lot better. I think it's in a setting people have wanted. The gameplay looks really good too. Like this looks like a really it already looks really polished. Combat looks really great. Stealth and like the stealth looks really fun, very visceral. Um, People want these kind of games. Think Ghost of Tsushima was super popular. Yote's coming out later. Like people like these sort of these like ninja, like feudal Japan. The setting is just really still very popular with
And yet you
gamers.
insulted
And
weep shit before this.
yeah, we have feudal Japan, not weird, V model whatever Hatsune Miku beat 'em up
How
whatever
dare you?
game.
Hatsune Miku's in Fortnite. You absolute swine.
Everyone's in Fortnite. Fucking Johnny Silverhand's in Fortnite
True.
now, and
That is
he
true.
hate he would detonate a bomb at Epic Games headquarters if he found out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so that's my first take. Not very exciting. I think it's just like essentially it just means it's like not good enough to like, oh, Ubisoft is saved, but not bad enough to go, oh, Ubisoft is dead.
Okay.
It's just gonna push a
It's
decision
pushing
that
a
the company
decision
has
down the
to
line
make.
because it's
Yeah,
gonna keep the bottom line afloat. I gotcha. Okay.
it's tabling the resolution.
But to be extra spicy here, because the main thing people are interested in hearing about around Ubisoft, if they do end up selling, I mean
Mhm.
selling, not going private with like
Right.
extra investment from Tencent or whatever,
Okay.
um, who do you think would buy it? Who out of the like what major company, what corporation, uh what entity do you think would buy Ubi is the most likely to buy Ubisoft? Because I have an idea, but I want to hear yours first because this is your
Tencent's
take.
not a bad idea. Tencent could just be like, fuck it, we'll just buy the whole
See, but
thing.
they
If
but
that's
they're already divesting. They
hmm.
already shut down they already shut down studios and are focusing more
my
on like
my other take. Okay, worst case scenario take. Absolute nightmare fuel. Elon Musk
oh
buys
god.
Ubisoft. The worst
Well, to
scenario.
be
I mean,
fair, I
he's
don't think
got.
he has interest in buying Ubisoft out of everything.
He'd be like, yeah, he wants to make his dumb anti woke AI
I
company
don't. Yeah,
instead.
whatever.
Yeah.
Stupid idiot. Who cares?
I mean, the other thing I can think of is like Microsoft, but I feel like Microsoft
Can't. They
kind of
literally
wants
would not be allowed to either.
they want to cool it on the spending. I think they're like, okay, we busted out the checkbook.
If
Um,
it's gonna be any of the existing,
Epic Games,
I could see Epic if it's like an out.
but they also have like a Tencent portion of
I
ownership.
don't think
So
that would matter because the way Tencent
okay,
invests in companies, they would still have a share or they would get a bigger share. Who knows? Who knows where that money's gonna
Local
go?
Thunk, the developer of Balatro. The game's been doing
Hell
that
yeah,
well.
sure, yeah. He's gonna buy
He's gonna
Ubisoft.
buy all of
Do it.
Ubisoft.
The best case scenario for this is they go private, keep it low, refocus, and then maybe go public again in the future if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't get acquired. Maybe some pieces get sold off, to keep the main business afloat. That's the best case scenario. I could see Disney doing it
Mm-hmm.
because
Okay.
Disney while they are not currently in the business of studios again after their
Mm-hmm.
like early 2000s mid like early 20 aught into the early 20 aughts like investment into studios with like the Epic Mickey stuff and everything. They
Right.
do have a partnership with Ubisoft. Clearly, they have multiple Disney IP games coming from
Hmm.
Ubisoft in the last
Yep.
X amount of time.
Right.
Those games did not flop. They just did not do as well as they wanted them to. So my whole thought process here is that if Disney wants to get back into gaming proper, what better way to do that than to just buy the company you're working with anyways and just have it, and then you also
Right.
get all the IP that
Hmm.
comes with it.
They're also, don't they all, doesn't Disney also, aren't they, well, they didn't they port, didn't they port like 2 billion into some like Epic Games
They
Fortnite
they they have a partnership.
partnership,
They're partnering slash like minor investors in whatever thing is happening with Epic Games because
whatever's
they're
happening.
creating some
Yeah.
kind of Disney thing. I can't remember the wording from like early last
Yeah. It
year or
was one of the
whatever.
last few things. I remember covering it for Dot, and I was just
Yeah,
like, I don't know what
I
this
remember
is,
that.
but
Yep. But no, they are
sounds
investors of a
interesting though.
kind. Either investors or heavy partners with Epic, but
Hmm.
that's also just like with Epic to do these projects like a Fortnite or to create like these interconnected gaming worlds and stuff. I could see them just being like, okay, we're gonna buy Ubisoft, we're gonna like make them redefine what their business
Hmm.
is in terms of like the games that they're making, and then they're gonna make Disney themed games for like Star Wars Outlaws 2, another Avatar game instead of like they're gonna make another Far Cry because Far Cry always sells well. They're gonna keep doing Assassin's Creed. Maybe we'll find something to do with Splinter Cell, and if not, maybe we
Yeah.
can actually use Splinter Cell for something in terms of IP. Like,
Yeah.
who knows?
I think the biggest, I think the most likely is that it goes private. The
Yep.
Tencent and the Guillemot family tag team.
I don't think any of the companies we think that that people are like, oh yeah, they buy them are in a position to buy anything right now,
Yeah. No,
or they don't
not
want
Tencent.
to.
Yeah, Tencent, not Tencent outright, not Microsoft, not
Not. I don't think
I
I
like,
don't think Sony wants to do it either.
no. I like the Disney idea
The
is an
Disney idea
interesting
is like the
curveball.
is something that I don't want to see happen because I don't want Disney to
Hmm.
have more IP and more just like everything. But at the same time,
Right.
like that's the one where that is the most interesting to me
Hmm.
as like an idea because
Yeah.
the most likely idea if it doesn't just go private is the Tencent buys them or Tencent somehow gains ownership of like a majority kind. So
Yeah.
that's whatever. But speaking of half the things we talked about in that section about like doomerism and stuff, um
Hmm.
my next take is the internet is just going to get worse this year. Just in general.
I also think the sun will rise in the morning and it will be
Yeah.
warm and the
Uh
grass will be green. But go ahead.
yeah, so with all the things that have just happened with Meta,
Hmm.
and all the things that keep happening with all the other social media websites and all the
Oh,
billionaires,
TikTok should sell and then buy Ubisoft.
that would be hilarious.
That'd be
That would
so,
be extremely
so
funny.
funny.
Uh but yeah, all the things that happen with social media and all these billionaires and all these like the grifters and the everything,
Yeah.
there's no way in my mind that the internet's if the meta stuff didn't happen, I
Mhm.
still would say this. But with the meta stuff happening where they're just like completely revoking like any protections or any like management of like misinformation, openly allowing it to be spread, allowing people to just be bigots online again with no like recompense if they get like called out or reported, because that's already what is the case on Twitter.
Mhm.
The only bastion we have is Blue Sky, and even then, there's still a bunch of bigots on there because they're not like properly allowing for like moderation, or they're not using their moderation tools and all these things the way that people are basically like begging them to when it comes to defending the people that are fleeing from these other places to go there. But with the meta stuff, it's just like it. That's like basically just telling anybody that's a terrible person that they have free reign of saying whatever they want with no pushback,
Right.
and you're just making the internet a worse place. And
Yeah.
YouTube is already
It,
like that. It's going that way too because of how many of these grifters and how many of these people that have these opinions that they think are right, or even if they don't think are right. Oh God, what was I listening to? I listened to some kind of podcast recently. I wish I could remember what it was, but the conversation was uh back like before social media, you could have a bad take, be told it's a bad take and learn from it, and people would be more likely to do that, but because of social media and the in like the micro celebrity that comes with being a social media like anything, that people let these things go to their head, and they're like, oh, I said this thing 10 years ago, I have to double down because people are calling me out on it,
Mm.
because I can't let that affect my micro celebrity. It's just that we're just going to see the people doubling down, being terrible people, sharing their
Yeah.
bad takes, assaulting minority groups,
Mm-hmm.
being bigots, racists, transphobes, all over the
And
board.
it's so frustrating because Twitter emboldens people not even to do these out of like, I almost not respect, but I almost get it if you are like genuinely a bigot and you genuinely like hate certain groups or hate woke whatever di blah blah. But there's so many people who are just like interaction click farmers who just say the stuff just to get a rise and just to have people retweet it and like retweet it and yell at them or retweet and say, oh yeah, he's right, and they don't even mean it. And that's why it's so frustrating, is that it's just people shouting things that they don't even really care that strongly about. Or, I mean, the people who do care strongly about it, still fuck them, but at least they like actually, at the very least, they're actually passionate about the terrible things they believe. But like, it just feels like there's so many people who don't actually care and are just trying to farm interactions and make money off of it. Like, I don't know if it's still the case, but like, you see like some of these like Twitter blue like just clout farmers make, like when they posted like their revenue, it's like, what the fuck? Like, they're making thousands a month off just this bullshit.
I don't know if
And
that's
it's
still
and
the
it's
case,
it.
but I do know that.
I
I mean,
hope not. I
even with
hope they go
Musk,
broke.
being like, "Hey, we need to spread more positivity on this website." I'm like, "Bro, you drove the positivity away."
And then
Like,
like I saw that tweet, and then his most recent tweet was a reply where he called somebody R word. It's like, it's like, yeah, no, like, you're full of shit, dude. You're full of shit. You know what's impressive? I gotta tip my hat to this guy. He is so annoying and such a cringe person to be around that reportedly Trump is getting sick of him. Do you know how awful you have to be for one of the worst people in the world to be like, I'm sick of this dude. Like, I'm sick of having this dude around. Like, that's like impressive. Truly impressive to be that annoying.
I think, man, I don't even know what to think anymore. Can people just stop being assholes?
Yeah.
Like
Well,
that?
no, they can't. No, they
No,
can't.
they
But we
can't.
just have to be louder at them. That's why I love people like Alyssa Mercante. She is just like so, and I can't imagine the toll it takes on her mentally to have to like be put on a strong, brave face and be like, I'm going after these people all the live long day, because I couldn't fucking do that. That's insane.
I'm tired
Um,
just talking about it, and we're talking about it for
right.
like a segment on a show.
Let's talk about video games. And
Yeah, go do your
I
next
wanna
take.
I'm I love guys like Paris Lilly, like
Love Paris.
who are jokingly called positivity peddlers, but I try and be positive and optimistic because, oh my god, if I'm not, I will collapse like a dying star. Um, I have an early sleeper pick for game of the year. Something that I think is, people like excited about this game, but with GTA 6 and Monster Hunter Wilds and everything that's scheduled to come out, I don't think people are like, "Oh yeah,
I
game
don't
of the
think
year,
either
this
of
game."
those will be game of the year, if I'm being honest.
So maybe this game isn't like, oh whoa, super out there, but I'm like, it's from a smaller group. But I'm really impressed with what I've seen so far. My partner's been talking about it to death. She's really excited about it, and that is Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, yep.
I'm really high on this game, and I'm not even like a turn-based RPG kind of guy.
Yeah, clearly.
But I know, like, it's, games like Persona, games like Final Fantasy are really popular, and this sort of Western take on it, a lot of really cool action gameplay elements. Because like, for me, turn-based RPGs are just boring. It's just like you're just like sitting there like picking your actions, and like, it's like I'm playing a card game. But the fact that this one really stylized, a lot of cool action game elements to it, gorgeous looking game, stacked voice cast, Ben Starr, Charlie Cox, who, we're recording this today, new Daredevil trailer just came out. Andy Serkis, fucking legend. I've got Lord of the Rings tatted on my body, so obviously I'm a huge fan of him. And his Andor stuff was great too. Um, really unique concept, like this godlike painter lady can just like draw people away, and just such a really interesting world. And like even the UI is like, oh, this is really cool looking. I just think I just I think this is like a nice like upgrade to this turn-based RPG system that is already really popular, that people are going to be really jazzed about. And I think this is going to be was it to quote Matt Purslow from IGN, it's almost like a next gen Final Fantasy from an alternate timeline.
Chat.
I think this
Scott just doesn't want to play turn-based RPGs. He refuses.
I I will play this one.
If you
And
like,
that is why
if you like everything that you just said about this, you would love You would love to give Metaphor a try.
I should
Because
play
I think
Metaphor.
I'm not. I haven't. I've only played a little bit of the demo because I don't have 100 hours to put into it. Or whatever the like that. That's an over exaggeration. Like if you're just gonna go through the story, it won't take you that long.
Mhm.
That's just like if you get really into it, that's what it'll take
Right.
you. Um, but from everything I've heard about the story and the characters and stuff, and especially what I know you like, I think Metaphor would be very up your alley. And if you like Metaphor, then you can then take a dip into Persona, maybe take a dip into some of the Final Fantasies that are like newer or maybe a little bit more action based. Because have you played Remake, Seven Remake or Rebirth?
I have not played, so it's funny. I really haven't played any turn-based
Mm.
RPGs ever. The one that I played as a kid, and I believe it was VG 24/7 when they were talking about this game, Clair Obscure. Um, it was Alex Donaldson. He wrote for VG 24/7, and he said it reminded him of the game, the only really turn-based RPG I put any significant time into, and that was Lord of the Rings: The Third
Mm.
Age from like the
I can see
PS2,
that.
GameCube generation. Where it's like a really unique story, but not like a super unique story. And obviously, like it got a little, in terms of adapting the Lord of the Rings story, they got a little silly with it because you're
Yeah.
essentially like a separate fellowship, kind of following the main one behind the scenes and trying to accomplish your own quest. Um, and it was interesting, like that game was so interesting because it didn't have the rights to like Tolkien's books, but it did have movie rights. So like everything that it did had to be based off the movies and couldn't pull anything from the books, and still made a really sound game. It had a lot of cool visual effects, and the only really turn-based RPG I spent a lot of time with. Obviously, Knights of the Old Republic is turn-based kind of, but it's also like there was, you can because it was more based on like the D20 system. Oh, and what am I saying? Baldur's Gate. So I've played like turn-based RPGs, but like the Final Fantasy metaphor kind of persona kind of games where it's like a group of three people standing together facing the enemy, and then like everyone takes their turn and attack and goes back to their starting points. Like that kind of turn-based RPG, I haven't played a lot of. But that's what this is, but really stylized, some action elements that keep you like on your toes, and like I said, beautiful game. Um, visually very impressive, and just a story that is very just seems very interesting, and a stack voice cast. All the things I said earlier. Yeah,
So
I think this is a game that's
this is
going
your
to
gateway.
be.
This is going to be your gateway. If you get into this, you're going to look at it and you're going to be like, you know what? Maybe I'll give Metaphor a try. And then you're going to get Metaphor
Yeah.
a try and you're going to be like, I like this. And then you're going to give Persona a try. And then you're going to get real tired of playing 100-hour Atlas games. And then you're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go play Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And then you're going to be like, oh, this is a little more actiony than I expected. Not really turn based. And then I'm finally going to get you to play Xenoblade.
Okay, this is the path. This is the
This is
path.
the path. This is the way.
Okay.
This is how I finally get you into Xenoblade. And then once you're done playing Xenoblade, I will
Mhm.
consider my mission complete. I will have converted
You,
you
you, you,
into an RPG sicko.
all right. You got another take for this here?
Oh yeah, this is the my third. We're gonna delve into the world of esports a little bit. Uh,
Ooh.
Talk about this.
I
This
haven't
is
touched esports in my take. This is interesting.
yeah.
I'm glad you did.
I want to say esport. This is the year that esports finally starts to rebound. This is the
Okay.
this is the stabilization year for
Convince me.
esports. We are 3 years into esports winter,
Hmm.
so more like esports cataclysmic event of Ice Age or whatever we want to
Mhm.
call it now. This is the year that companies have finally learned that they need to change their game companies are going to finally learn that they need to change their approach to running their own tournaments and running their own events and promoting their competitive side of things. That's the one I'm the least convinced about because that's the one
Mhm.
that takes more to convince and they need to invest more in esports. And so we'll see, other than like fighting games or games with an inherent competitive base, you don't really see
Mhm.
that. But I think more companies are going to embrace that. And this is the year that sponsors finally learn how to sustainably keep and support talent.
Okay.
So that we've already seen signs of that where we haven't seen a lot of people just getting let go from teams over the last like 6 months. Like, sure, you see the normal like roster moves and stuff, but that's on the competitive side.
Mhm.
For content, for personality based stuff,
Mhm.
you've seen changes, you've seen rotations, maybe you've seen like pay cuts or like changes in how people are
Mhm.
put in front of cameras. But I think that this is the year where you're going to start seeing a lot more. Oh yeah, this person is not only a competitor, but they're going to get more. We're going to support them more on making their content because we know that the
Yeah.
content is the way that we're going to get sustainable
Every
returns.
yeah, every every
Mm-hmm.
every player is for every player, they just have to accept now that content is a mandated requirement. It is no longer optional.
Yeah,
Like unless you're like Falcons who can just throw as much Saudi money as you
but
can
that's
at
not
Endeavor. But
that's not where
but
the
even they're
sustainable
doing
comes from,
content.
and that's not where sustainability comes from. I'm talking about the specifics of like Western teams where or like
Mhm.
Western teams specifically because they're the ones with the most turnover in terms of teams and players and
Right.
talent and stuff.
Right.
They are the people that are going to that those are the teams that are going to finally be like, okay, cool, um we're going to have, even if you don't do individual content, you're going to be on team streams, you're going to be streaming on the team channel, you're going to be showing up to events or recording vlogs or recording this. We're going to start monetizing this stuff heavily, with sponsorships and with tie-ins and whatever else to all these events we go to. um all the individual players who do stream, you get to keep your revenue, but we're advertising on your stream. Your ads are our ads. We're selling ads for you, so in advertisement and sponsorship spaces, unless you approve it through us, we're getting a cut of that, even if you're keeping all of your sub and like revenue from donations and everything. I think we're going to see more experimental stuff in terms of how people bring in content. I think we're going to see more
Mhm.
of these weird experimental crossovers between teams partnering on rosters,
Mhm.
to like upkeep teams or to like make content that
Like
way.
like for specific rosters to have sponsors because we've seen
No,
that
no, no.
before where it's like
I'm talking about like two different organizations sponsoring the same team
okay.
because they
I know
that have.
Cloud9 and Beast Coast were
Yep.
doing that for,
Well, Beast Coast doesn't exist
Speed.
anymore, so
Right, well, I was saying, but prior to M80
exactly.
coming in and acquiring the Beast Coast acquisitions, I know Cloud9 and Beast Coast were doing
That
that
was
for
there was also
Speed.
one in Dota.
Right,
IG.
yes.
I God, I can't even remember the term. It was IG. I don't even remember
Oh,
which
it
one.
was isn't it also like PSG, LGD
Well, yeah,
in
that used
Dota?
to be the case. Yeah, yeah. It used to be
Okay, are
PSG
they not the case
LGD.
anymore? I don't
No,
watch Dota.
yeah, PSG LGD folded a while ago. PSG does sponsor a team. I see. I'm so far out of the loop. I don't even think that PSG team exists anymore. But on the Dota
Mm.
side, there were IG and was it, I can't remember if it was Fnatic. It was IG and so it was a Chinese team with Invictus
Fnatic
Gaming
IG
and then
seems
Fnatic, I believe.
familiar. Yeah, that seems really familiar.
Yeah, let me double
Yeah,
check
because
that.
I would like to see more of that in CS and Valorant. I don't really know if there's much of that. There was some. I know like Bleed and Disguised were doing stuff together, but now Bleed is in a bunch of legal trouble, and I think Disguised just left Valorant because the Southeast Asia Challenger scene is insisting on using a specific streaming partner that Disguised can't like make any revenue off of. So there's like we're just not going to do this anymore.
IG Vitality.
That's okay.
IG Vitality
Okay.
was a thing, which is the younger team, and there was G2. G2
Hmm.
IG. So that was the team that G2 got into
Hmm.
Dota, but they partnered with IG to sponsor a team for last year's not DPC but
Hmm.
DPC. So I think we're gonna see. I don't think we're gonna see as much as that as the other stuff, but I do think this is a year
Hmm.
that we start seeing, specifically in Western esports, because
Hmm.
mid east esports is just like a bunch of money that can be thrown at everybody, and then
Right.
like
And in Asia, it's a lot more. Esports is
it
just so much more bigger,
it's bigger.
and
It's always been sustainable because it's always been a business relationship with the players. They've always been like
yes,
employees and like finding ways to do certain things. It's a different ecosystem over there. In those two, it's
yes,
different. But in the West, I think this is the year that esports becomes a bit more sustainable after 3 years of constant, essentially decline. and just like
Yeah.
turmoil.
Okay. I hope you're right. I
God,
really do.
Scott,
God, I
I
really.
want one of my takes to be happy. I want one of my takes to be good. I want to be
uh,
able to watch TI this year and be like, yeah, all these sponsors, I understand who these sponsors are. Oh, all these
yeah.
players, man, I'm glad they're getting paid to go play this game.
I think I also I want to say that Riot finally relenting and accepting gambling sponsorships. Obviously, with a lot of
Yeah, there's going to be
red tape.
caveats. Yeah.
There's going to be caveats, and there's going to be like also like I really hope they reconsider like, oh, we don't allow any of it to appear on the broadcast. It's like, then why would they sponsor if they can't be on the broadcast? Why would they
I know
sponsor?
we talked about this when we were talking with Anna and a couple of our buddies uh recently, when it was like when I brought up BetBoom being the title sponsor of a
Mhm.
team and then having to go by BB team at
BB,
TI
yeah,
because they couldn't, like, because betting sponsors weren't
yeah,
allowed. It's like there's gonna have to be red tape. Obviously, like there's not gonna be gambling sponsors for actual tournaments and stuff in terms of
hmm
like the
definitely not in the Riot
tournaments.
ecosystems. Yeah.
Yeah, like, well, I don't even think in Valve, I
Well,
know
I
they're not
mean,
gonna do it
well,
either.
no,
But
no, because like they had like the Thunder Pick World Championships this year,
those
and it
aren't
was like a
those aren't official though.
yeah,
I'm
but they
talking.
contribute. They contribute to like the Valve regional standings, and that essentially goes
Oh,
to majors.
hmm.
I would assume they do. I mean, it's like a big 300K tournament that had a lot of big teams in it. I would assume, teams aren't going to these tournaments now, especially in Counter Strike, for the prize pool. I mean, it's a big prize pool, they'll go,
Well, for
but
Valve,
mostly they want to go to tournaments because they get points to Valve regional standings, and that determines if they go to the major or not. Because CS2 is still in a position where unless you're a truly top tier team, you need to make the major to be a sustainable organization because you need that sticker
Dota
prize.
doesn't work like that anymore because the DPC isn't a thing anymore. So doesn't Valve approves tournaments for specific
Mm-hmm.
things, but they don't have like a point system anymore. ESL is the only one with a point system, and that leads to the
Mm-hmm.
esports World Cup kind of thing now.
Mm-hmm.
So Valve doesn't have to care on the Dota side because if a tournament is sponsored by a betting company, it's not directly associated with Valve. But like for
Mm-hmm.
ESL events, maybe Valve will step in and maybe provide some support or something for specific
Right.
things.
Sure.
So in the Dota sense of things, which is where I'm coming from because I don't watch CS anymore, the the idea is it wouldn't matter if a betting sponsor does, like, a BetBoom host a tournament because they always do like BetBoom Daca. I can't even know. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but they host BetBoom host a tournament. Thunderpick might host a tournament. They don't do that for Dota, but if a betting sponsor did host something for Dota, it could still count for like teams being, oh, that team's really good, and then Valve still just sends out the invites to the teams that are just the best over the year to go to TI like they did this last year. So I don't agree with that. I don't like that system. I was personally a fan of how the DPC worked in terms of every major accounted for points and blah blah blah. I just wasn't a fan of how Valve handled things on the
Mm-hmm.
minutia and in like the scheduling. I don't think any of that worked, and I don't think there was enough support for smaller the lower tier teams. So we'll have to see. But yeah, the betting sponsors are. It's the same thing with sports. Betting sponsors are just going to
Mm-hmm.
become more and more
Yeah.
prominent because that's where just a metric ton of money is. And guess what? The esports scene doesn't have a lot of right now.
A metric ton of money.
Exactly. So unless you're taking money from, as much as I mean, if, God, I don't even know how to pronounce. I literally just watched the award or the Evo announcement show last night, and the Evo awards that are happening in February
Mm-hmm.
are literally presented by a Saudi Arabia
Mm.
Q something. I don't remember I can't remember the way it's pronounced. I'll look at the email real. I can look at the email real quick. But like the whole point is, unless you're taking money from like like a company from like the Middle East, whether that be like the Esports World Cup or like some of these other companies, um, you're gonna have to find the money elsewhere, and a lot of these tournament
Mm-hmm.
organizers are gonna get that money from betting. It's just how it's gonna work. Just like
Yeah.
how a bunch of podcasts for sports and a bunch of shows for sports and a bunch of networks for sports. Ironically, like ESPN, that's making their own betting app, like that has their
Mm-hmm.
own betting app now. Like it's just how it's gonna go. So, Scott, what's your? While I look this up, go ahead and give us. Actually, let me pull this up real quick. The name of the thing that Evo is sponsored by, real quick. It is the Kidea
Mm-hmm.
Kidea Qiddiya is the thing sponsoring the Evo Awards. It's a company. It's a company that's worked with Evo before. I believe they had.
Okay.
I believe they had a booth at Evo last year. So, you know.
Sorry, I
Yep.
think I just heard something knock over upstairs, so that's great. 1 second, gotta fire off a message, and then I will go check that, and I'll give you my third take.
Sure. I mean, I'm just to wrap up the esports take. Like, I'm just tired of esports being in a constant state of decline and having to hear people be like, "Hey, yeah, let's talk about like the content angle." It's like, yeah, the content angle is important, but like we're already seeing that like even that regress a little bit. Uh, Ludwig had to shut down the
Mhm,
event branch of off brand purely because I mean it wasn't purely the fault of the events not happening in a frequency and cadence that would upkeep the entire brand, but like there's not enough of these giant events that are going on or being
mhm,
asked for by creators in that way. Like that's not going to be able to sustain entire esports ecosystems or entire game ecosystems. Like we're still having to reel from a bunch of like Smash tournaments shutting down, and I know
mhm,
registration for Genesis this year is like a much lower pace than it was last year, even though Rivals of Aether 2 is also going to be a thing at Genesis this year. The big house is gone. Like other tournaments are going away. This could be the last full bloom this year. I don't know about like Get On My Level and all these other tournaments that are like staples of the melee community just can't keep up. And there's even if there's more interest from people coming to play those games, uh, there's just so many hurdles and that's just talking about like an old
mhm,
fighting game. Like there's so many hurdles for new games too to have ecosystems that that can maintain themselves.
mhm. Uh,
I just want to win. Hey there, times for listeners. Cale here, just from the future, disheveled look, messy background, and all that stuff. Audio listeners, hi, you won't see any of that. But I just wanted to preface the next little bit of this podcast by saying, hey, Discord decided not to record Scott's audio, so we had to use some movie magic and get our backup recordings that sound a little bit different from this point out. I had to do some editing to make sure the mouth flaps and all that good stuff match up as best I can. Thankfully, I was able to salvage the rest of the video that also had some desync issues, so you shouldn't notice that big of a difference other than some difference in maybe Scott's audio quality a bit. But you can enjoy the rest of the episode. I was talking about the rest of our 2025 predictions and what we're excited for. Some outdated sports talk, including Scott continuing to be a tortured Chicago Bulls, Bears, etc. fan. So hopefully you enjoy that. We're hoping to turn Timesphere into a weekly podcast. We have a lot of fun recording it and all that stuff. So we're trying to iron out some of the issues early. Timesphere might have time in the name, but timely is not our forte when it comes to this, despite being journalists. So hopefully you'll bear with us. Enjoy the somewhat outdated talking points near the end of this. And yeah, just follow us when we post whatever's next. Enjoy the rest of the video, and I hope you have a good 2025. Yeah, after now that you yeah, now that you have been waiting just as long as I have
Just
for Scott's third take, we will give you Scott's
my third take. We're gonna go back to Gen Gaming. Not a big esports focus. I'm hopeful for your take that esports will get a nice bounce back. We've been waiting a long time. This year, either at Game Awards or Gamescom, we will get either a trailer, a teaser, or just some announcement or message affirming that they are working on the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake from Saber. We will just hear we're gonna hear something about it. The last we heard, Embracer Group, rest in piss, sold off Saber.
Did they sell off or did they just did they just buy themselves out? I think Saber's independent now.
I believe that they are independent.
Good for them.
I think it's like $500 million according to Jason Schreier.
I mean, they are one of the biggest. Like they're a giant studio.
Yeah,
they make a lot of games.
And so this happened like almost a full year ago now. So I feel like we have to just hear something.
Are you worried about it not coming to fruition now that they are independent though?
No. Okay. I think it is such a revered game itself.
Oh, I just meant the deal itself, not the game. Like,
that they have fully gone independent.
Yeah, are you worried that like the deal might have there might have been like some complications with the deal? Because who knows with like, did Disney reach out? Like, did Lucas Games and all that stuff reach out to Saber and for the deal, and then have to go through Embracer Group, and now that they're not Embracer Group anymore, that deal is falling apart, or like that's more my that's more my concern.
In last time heard, May of 2024, according to Drazen Schreier, Saber is anticipated to still be making this remake.
That's what I figured.
And if it comes from him, I'm pretty confident that is going to happen. So that's great. So I just think we hear something about it. The last we've seen anything from this game was a very, very brief teaser of it
when it was first
at a
revealed.
PlayStation showcase like 2 years ago now. So like the fact that we heard that this long, it's not like they started from scratch like this past year after the Saber stuff. They've been working on it. So we have to hear something. I think, people want to play Star Wars games. We've seen that in Jedi. Yes, hear me out. The Jedi series, very popular. People look fondly back on both sets of Battlefront franchises, even the EA ones, because of how those games sort of turned themselves around. Another.
I wouldn't say the first one turned itself around. I'd say the second one.
The second one did. The second one did. Another disciple in the. It is what it is at release, but we can fix. I can fix them. Have they fixed
the whatchamacallit, the port or the remaster of Battlefront 2 yet?
We're not talking about that. Is this the one from Aspire, the Battlefront Classic Collection? We're not talking about that.
But we can talk about Jar Jar Binks being playable in Jedi power battles now.
Yes, that
is a thing that is happening.
The people are
yearn for Jar Jar.
The people yearn for the death sticks.
What is the name of the
spice
crystal
mines?
They yearn for the Kyber crystal mines.
They yearn for the Kyber crystal mines. But I think it's funny because Dune, it's all about spice. But I think spice is also a thing in Star Wars.
I'm
spice
sure,
is spice is the generic term for drugs in Star Wars.
Look, I'm all for it. When I played Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2, I enjoyed it a lot because I'm a big fan of those style of games. I would be excited to give it a go again in a modern format and everything. I bought the collection of 1 and 2 on Switch a while ago, and I just haven't gone back to play them yet. I want to. So I'm hopeful that this is the case. I'm just a little worried that going independent might have screwed things over a little bit in terms of the timelines, and we still might be a year away from hearing about it, because I think they're going to try and do a Nintendo and be like, hey, we're going to talk about this, and then it's going to be out in 6 to 8 months.
The last official word on it, because Saber also made IGN talked to Saber about Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, successful game.
Yes,
sold well, critically acclaimed. They said right now they are focused on development of the Dakota remake. Okay, cool. We look forward to sharing more when time is right.
Yeah.
There you go, brother.
I would think they're gonna do a Nintendo and be like, hey, talk about it out in 8 months.
Yeah.
So
I think we'll see something this year.
I
think we'll see something this year, and we'll see it released in 2026. That is my prediction.
If it shows up, it'll be at one of the Jeff Keighley things, I believe. Especially at this point.
Our next game is from a remake of a classic turn-based RPG.
Yeah, critically acclaimed turn-based RPG that has been.
I know you've all been waiting for this one.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are our 3, either our 6 combined.
And then the Muppets go, Old Republic. Is that where we get our genes? Oh.
No, it can't be Waldorf again. It can't be the old 2 again. Statler and Waldorf. It has to be who hasn't showed up at a Keighley thing yet. We've had Gonzo. We've had
Kermit's been there once.
Yeah,
right?
I don't think so. I don't think he might have made Keighley's been in a Muppet thing. He's been interacting with all of them. It's been Gonzo.
Muppets, yeah.
I can't remember the name of the rat one, the Italian rat, and then it was the chef, and now Statler and Waldorf. So 4. So Beaker, Beaker and the professor and Professor Honeydew.
Beaker's not gonna. Beaker's gonna be like beep, 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 beep.
He's gonna get launched out of a cannon, and the cannon's gonna have confetti that reveals a game or something. I don't know. Look, that
it's gonna poof, and then it's gonna be like a flag unfurling and say GTA 6 releases November.
Yeah, dude, Beaker reveals GTA 6's release date. That'd be
6. That's our last take. That's our last prediction.
That'd be hype as hell. I will say, so that was our 6, but Scott, I have a bonus take for you because I think that you'll.
Okay.
I think this is a take that both of us have.
Okay.
So I warned you we'd be talking about Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
So that
we've been playing a lot of it.
Yeah, we play so much Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals will continue to be the biggest live service game as long as NetEase continues to support the game the way it has been through the first month.
Mm-hmm.
So they peaked during season 1 at over 600,000 people on Steam alone. This game has taken over social media in terms of memes. The developers are well aware of the memes.
Yeah.
They are already. They just confirmed through an interview yesterday that was the interview took place before season 1 launched, so some of the information is outdated. But they did confirm that they are planning to do 2 heroes every season, so 1 hero basically every 6 weeks. Along with a new at least a new map every season.
They also smartly they were asked about esports and they weren't like, oh yeah, we're gonna do a league or some stupid answer like that. But they essentially said
they wanted
they're thinking more on a broader scale. Yeah, they want to coexist. They're not gonna institute role lock or make the game we've been saying this before, and other outlets have talked about this in their reviews of this game and why it's successful, is that it's not perfectly balanced, and that's fine. It makes it fun.
They literally in that interview said we're going with a more Marvel inspired approach because the whole point of these games is play the heroes you like and try and make it work because you like those heroes. And no, it's not always going to work. And a bunch of the professional players coming from other games have talked about the social pressure that people are going to be under to swap 2 roles or swap 2 characters because of the not having a role lock and having to adapt. But the reason that at the highest level this is going to be so good, and because they've implemented the pick ban system, is that hey, guess what? Flexibility matters. Flexibility is going to be great.
Yes.
People are going to get to rotate in Overwatch League, early Overwatch League.
Well, not in our group. I'm forced to play tank every.
Excuse you. I give you the opportunity to pick if you choose tank. The real answer is one of the 2 of us has to play tank because we know know Karina is not going to play tank.
We're putting our group on blast
we know Karina's not playing tank. We know Dez is only going to play tank if he really wants to win, and he just wants to play Wolverine or whatever DPS he wants to play, so he can get in.
Yeah, he wants to play the backdoor annoying.
Missy's
DPS.
game's gonna crash half the time, so she's not even gonna get to play the game with us. And then I'm not gonna say anything bad about Shay. Shay does what she can. So
smart man.
Yeah, Shay does what she can. And we're not gonna bring Dennis and our man forklift into this.
Yeah.
But
I know people say oh, Strange is the best tank. It's Magneto when he has the Scarlet Witch.
That is true, especially after season 1.
He is the best tank.
I love Magneto.
And listen, if I'm gonna be tanking the whole time, I am dripped the fuck out with this House of M skin.
Look,
I don't care I don't care who they make fun of my old man loafers. the fit is fire. I'm looking good as hell.
Look, all I'm saying is that. Yeah, that is true. I do want to say.
I think, but yeah. to rope us back into the take and the prediction, I think there will, like any live service game, there will be a slight fall off in playoffs. There'll be a slight fall off in players, like every live service game ever. But I still think it's going to be very high, and there's going to be people who it's like, oh, the player base is down 25% after the first few months. It's there's still 400,000 players playing right now.
Bro, there are
and that's right now.
It does not dip below 300,000 players.
Yeah, I'm saying in the future, when we get into the summer and other games come out.
Yeah,
and blah, blah,
it'll
blah.
eventually
this game's still gonna be super
bit.
popular. Yeah.
But
it's not gonna this isn't Counter-Strike. It's not gonna be at 1 million players at any time. But I mean, right now, it's the middle of the day on a Wednesday, and there's 341,000 people playing.
And
that's
just Steam. It's also on Epic and
that's
on
just
consoles.
Steam. Yes.
Like,
reason we can't play comp is because you insist on playing console.
Yeah. Just because
you have a computer. You're using it right now. I
I'll have you know I'm on my Mac. I'm on my MacBook right now, but I do have a PC capable of playing the game. I just did not know there was not cross progression in terms of. So I started playing on PlayStation and bought the Battle Pass, and then I'm like, oh, I guess I'm stuck here now. So I will eventually make a.
But then you bought the. Yeah.
And
they should, if they make cross progression. Or cross
their discussion on just a brief side on cross progression for the game. They've said that they're worried about cross progression in terms of like how the game is going to be played. Don't worry about. You already have it implemented. Nobody wants cross progression in terms of rank play. They want cross progression in terms of just the stuff on your account. They just want They just want to be able to have all of their stuff and not have to buy it again if I go play. Because if I pick up my Steam Deck and want to play Marvel Rivals on the go, I want to have the stuff from my PlayStation.
Does it run well on the deck? I haven't tried.
It runs okay on the deck.
I have the first gen deck, so I don't know how. Like I don't have
I have the OLED. And when I played it during the beta, it ran like decent.
It's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it's not like it's not.
I tried.
Get you anything.
I tried Veilguard on the deck. I was like, oh, this is chugging.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I think this game does have a long shelf life. I mean, it's gonna be the same thing that happens with Fortnite. It's gonna have the big peak like you said, and then we're gonna get through. Like season 1's it's gonna have waves. It's gonna have new season launch. Here comes the Thing and Human Torch, or here comes
exactly. But they're splitting it.
They're
splitting it. They're doing a really smart thing and splitting the season into 2 halves.
Yes.
So you're gonna get the one hero at the start with the launch of the new battle pass and the launch of the new map probably, and you get that hype, and then halfway through the season you're gonna get another hero. So there's gonna be 2 spikes per season.
Yes,
which is great.
And each I totally agree with this. I'm happy to agree with it because I've really been enjoying this game. It's fun. The gameplay's fun. The battle pass and the everything's cosmetic based. You know, all the microtransactions and like battle passes are a pretty solid deal. The amount of stuff you get out of them.
Oh, you get the first one was skins for.
The first one was really short, and that kind of bothered people.
But it was also $5.
Like, a lot of people. It was also $5, yeah.
So this one's $10, and guess what? Now you're getting 10 skins and a bunch of cosmetics that are all freaking awesome. Like this, it's the same deal as the Fortnite Battle Pass. I think the Fortnite Battle Pass, if you play Fortnite, is a really good deal. You're paying $11 and you're getting a ton of content. And if you complete the Battle Pass, you get like 70% of the money back essentially to either use on other stuff or to use towards the next Battle Pass. Marvel Rivals is the same way. If you like Marvel Rivals and there's skins in the Battle Pass you like or cosmetics in the Battle Pass you like, get the Battle Pass. You can finish it at any time. And then also you get 10 skins, all these cosmetics, and then you also get like 60 to 70% of the cost towards the next Battle Pass.
Right. Yeah. I put some money into it to buy the Battle Pass and to buy to buy the Invisible Woman skin. But I was like, I don't really like Invisible Woman as a character. I don't see myself playing her that much. Also, mostly because I'm assigned to tank most of the time. So I was like, I'm going to take this money I was going to spend on Invisible Woman since it's already here in the game, and I got like the premium Battle Pass upgrade that unlocks a bunch of stuff already. So that's how I got House of M Magneto right away, and I want to do my dailies today because I really, really want that Iron Man skin. That's my next. Good. I am locked in on getting that Iron Man skin.
Now are you gonna get to play Iron Man? Is the question.
Well, I listen. If we're in our group of 6, there will be I don't care. I'm just gonna be. I'm picking Iron Man. I don't care. Cale can tank it, or someone else can do it for once. But I'm playing Iron Man.
One of these nights, we should just make Rena. We should just make Rena tank.
Yeah, we just
have to force her into tank. That'd be very funny. She would hate us so much. Yeah. But yeah.
So what else? So I guess we should transition to. We're gonna be playing a lot of Marvel Rivals this year. What else are we looking forward to this year?
I just highlighted a couple games that I think like I'm excited for, just out of like the stuff that's got confirmed release dates already. So I'll just run through my list, and then you can run through some titles, and we can just kind of back and forth talk about some of these games or some stuff we're excited for. This is gonna be really dumb. I think it releases in a couple weeks. There's the Yu-Gi-Oh! Early Days collection, which is like a collection of just Yu-Gi-Oh! Games that are like from all across Yu-Gi-Oh!'s history up through like the Game Boy Advanced, I think, including some that have never been ported over to the West. So I'm excited for that. All those games are bad. Every single one of them, like, They're outdated, obviously, because they're old Yu-Gi-Oh games. And the game has evolved so much since then. Most of them are broken. Some of them don't even use the actual way you play the card game, so they're really confusing. They're poorly paced. The way you unlock cards is stupid. They're bad. I'm just excited for it because of the nostalgia and because we haven't seen some of those games actually be released out over here before. Then I have Monster Hunter Wilds, obviously big Monster Hunter guy. Very excited for that.
Yep.
God, I hope they fixed the way you can group up with friends, because if not, that is going to
that was a pain.
That is going
a real pain.
Extremely hamper my enjoyment if I can't easily group up with friends, especially if they're on other platforms, because that's the big pull of this for a lot of us Monster Hunter people that are coming from World specifically, because Rise was like hit or miss for a lot of people since it was a Switch game originally. Is that cross progression or cross play, being able to play with friends on any platform is like such a huge deal, because that's never happened before in Monster Hunter. So like, if it's not easy, which it should be, like, then what's the point? Like, then it's still going to hamper the experience. But super excited for that. That's going to take over the world for at least a month, and then it's just going to be a constant, like, 100,000 people playing it on and off, enjoying it with friends. New drops, new crossovers with other Capcom and other game stuff are going to happen. It's just going to be a great 2 years of that game existing in the ether. Like, it's going to be great.
I agree.
Split Fiction, really excited for Hazelight's
yes.
next game. I'm so pumped for this. I love Hazelight. All of their games have been great. This concept is entirely up my alley. I love the idea of people being pulled into like each other's like minds and having to like deal with the fallout of what could happen if they don't like control their thoughts, and like the idea that they're both like different authors with different specialties, and that's what's influencing this. Super sick. I hope they pull it off. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. It is so weird. It's the weirdest Xenoblade game in terms of gameplay and story and function, because it didn't really fit into the canon of like the other games. I mean, it came out after 1, which we didn't think we'd ever get a sequel to begin with. And then it came out before 2, so it doesn't really fit in what we know now. There's going to be more story, new characters, a bunch of extra stuff that is really weird, and they just teased a little bit more in the trailer that came out earlier, like late last week. We don't know how this is going to tie in, if it's even going to tie into the other stuff now, but I'm super excited to see how it happens, and also just go back to the game for the first time in like 7 years since the last time I played it. Sorry, Assassin's Creed Shadows, I will not be playing you. I will be playing Xenoblade that weekend. And then the last one is Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. Comes out in March. Super excited for it. It just got announced that it's going to be the only new game in EVO's lineup this year. Obviously replacing Fatal Fury or King of Fighters 15 from last year. So super hyped for that. I still have no idea what they're going to do with whatever the Ronaldo tease was when that happened. It blew up the internet. Made a lot of people confused. But that game is super fun. It's going to be the fighting game I probably play the most this year, outside of just like whatever I'm playing for like our monthly leagues. So that's hype. There's a bunch of other stuff that we can guess what's coming out this year, but don't want to get too far into it.
Hollow Knight sequel.
Like there's a bunch of indie games. I mean,
a new Mario, and then when the Switch gets announced, there's going to be a bunch of. There's got to be some big Nintendo.
Oh yeah, well I mean, Pokemon Legends ZA doesn't have a date yet. There's a new Pokemon game coming this year.
There'll be a new Mario 3D platformer. There could be
new Mario Kart. Could be new. Some other first-party Nintendo stuff could be getting a brand new entry this year. Like there's a Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year. We just don't have a date for it yet. So once the Switch 2 launches and gives us kind of an idea, because when we got the Switch 2 last time, they revealed that was the first time we got the Mario Odyssey reveal. We got a couple other reveals, and that's also the first time we saw Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is we never thought we'd get. So if that reveal happens and Mario isn't like the big ticket reveal, then there could be something crazy hiding in that reveal. Like I don't think we're gonna like new Mario Kart, sure, because when they launched the Switch, they announced that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was happening. So we could get the new Mario Kart. That could be the big thing. Maybe there's a new Animal Crossing, although I doubt it. I think they'll probably wait a little bit before that one. Maybe new Smash Bros. Doubt that'll be in the initial announcement, but who knows? There's so many what ifs with a Switch 2 announcement, or like a Switch 2 year one launch window kind of like reveals. that are still on the board with like all these other games that are like, when will X launch? When will Y launch? What kind of reveals are we getting this year? Like, this year is still wide open, and it's going to be wide open for a while because people are scared of GTA.
Yeah, which we have to mention as well. GTA 6 will be
that is going to
a industry defining game.
That game is going to make or break an entire 3-month window.
Yeah, it's gonna make or break the year.
They're gonna be so
honestly.
If people are releasing in that window, there's going to be like a mad scramble fleeing.
Yeah,
it's gonna be one of the rare times we might see games move up.
Yeah,
in release date. So, what are you excited for, Scott? What do you got in
mind? So some of the games that I'm excited for, we touched upon in our earlier discussions. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, something that's gonna get me into Persona 5 turn-based kind of RPGs. I think it's gonna be really cool. I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. You can go play your little Xenoblade game. I'm going to be a ninja. I'm going to be a big old samurai. I'm going to have a big fun. And Ubisoft is still really good. You can say what you want about Outlaws, but they made one of the best like Star Wars like open worlds in terms of like living, breathing atmosphere, like map design, planet design, like obviously the actual core gameplay struggled. The story, like the actual like kind of role playing evidence, like the reputation system ended up being not that impactful. But in terms of making really cool Star Wars planets, really cool locations, they cooked. And there we'll do the same thing here with Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I'm excited about that. Some other things that came up. I'm curious to see what the next college football game looks like. If they are going with annual releases, which I would assume they are, this is a very interesting spot they're in because the first one came out, obviously, it was by no means the perfect game, but was just so...
It was the perfect what it needed to be.
Yes, exactly. Still unbelievable that it wasn't even nominated for Best Sports Game at Game Awards. Like I understand if it doesn't win, but not even a nomination was crazy.
I want to flag that for the record, listeners and watchers. We recorded an entire Game Awards episode with my buddy Toby, and as I was uploading it the Monday before the Game Awards was going live, all the files corrupted, video, audio, everything, all corrupted. So that's just around somewhere. Maybe I'll publish it unlisted somewhere and just share it and be like, hey, if you want to go listen to this, great. It's completely outdated now. But we talked about that at length. Scott and I did, about like the fact that because the Game Awards, the people that nominate for the Game Awards that are like on the actual committee and everything are largely an international vote. The sports category for this year was like because college football,
but it included Madden, which is interesting.
No, it didn't. Madden wasn't there.
Madden wasn't there.
That was one of my points. Is because it's an international. Madden and college football, like college sports, don't ever make the list unless they're like insanely good and like break out of the mold, because all the other ones have international followings. So that was my point back then. That's why I wanted to flag here. But yeah, no,
that's fair.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely,
I did.
That was by far the best sports game of the year in that category.
Yeah, because we're not going to subject you all to another rant about the annual 2K slop releases.
No.
We won't do that.
Hey, I guess I played
too
much 2K, and that game is awful.
Yeah. So my point for college football is it going to avoid the pitfall of
the Madden, of the 2K,
of the Maddens and the 2Ks, where it's like, okay, it's an annual release and they don't really do enough that really helps it stand out or improve upon from previous games, because there is a lot of stuff needs to be improved upon. I think the Dynasty mode
could be improved a lot in terms of like
in terms of features and user interface. For example, wishlist, EA, if you're listening, when I am redshirting players, I would like to be able to look at the player like little window up in the menu and see what their development trait is, because that's very important. If they're like an elite development trait, then I want to get them out in the field and get them their reps so that their skill caps go up. Or if like I'm in a completely, like the rest of my team is super bad and I have like a 4-star elite freshman who I don't want to use, who I want to redshirt for a year, I'd like to be able to see that when I'm redshirting players. Very small thing, but little things like that. I'd like to see them kind of embrace more narrative stuff, like not go full on like 2K's Spike Lee My Career.
If they do that,
modes.
I'm not buying the game.
No. I don't want that. But just like little thing where it's like, I would like to, instead of just like play as a coach and like, you know, make I don't know, just make like the contract offers, make contract offers and contract re-signing a bit more flushed out in terms of like
add depth
the story
to it.
thing.
I agree.
Add some depth. That's what I'm looking for the next one. Depth
I think that what you're asking for is entirely reasonable, especially since, God, they never do it with 2K, and they're never going to do it. So I'm sad, but with this game, I think that the team is well aware of the complaints and of the need for more depth and of the need to fix like the little things in Dynasty mode just to make it more enjoyable, like better sim options, better ways to like influence things and all this other stuff. I think that that's 100% true, and I think that that's easily manageable with a yearly release because it's not full on scaling anything. It's just addressing concerns and fixing like the little things, the things that people really want. And I think if this game has enough goodwill that I think it could be yearly release and do all those things for like the next 3 or 4 years without really overhauling anything, and probably keep that goodwill and keep those good scores and like be very, very successful. Yeah. Versus like once we get like 4 years down the line and then people are like, hey, we really need like a gameplay kind of overhaul. We need some new mechanics. We need some new like stuff. I wonder how the development cycle could go there. Where are they gonna have the team that does that, and then in the background they have the team that's like working on the next iteration, like the next big stuff. Like
I still think, and I know they won't because of the sales they make from selling individual copies, but I still think EA should make, it's not FIFA, EAFC, like have it just be one game that they continuously update, have it be free to play, and then that's just it's like a Fortnite or anything else, and it just exists, and they just add stuff to it over and over and over.
That would be great if EA had any of the infrastructure to do any of that.
Yeah, because we see, are they considered good at updating Apex? I'm completely tuned out of Apex. No, okay, then they can't do it.
The two games that I've seen get the most flack because Marvel Rivals is good is Apex and Overwatch. Because
Overwatch was gonna get
that's just because the games are so similar. But Apex is catching strays too because people are upset with like monetary structure and like the release window of updates and how things work and like how hard it is to get like progression things and whatever. It's like, I don't know. I don't think EA has the infrastructure to do that because no one really does. I think Marvel Rivals now might, but that's because it's not really it's a live service game, but in the way of like, oh, we're just adding like new seasonal content. We're doing this. EA doing that with college football would need to be more along the lines of a Fortnite. And I don't think it would have the interest level because
I think it would work. I think it could work with the AFC. I don't know if it would work with college football.
Would work with college football. EAFC definitely because there's enough interest in terms of like it has so many players yearly that would come back to it.
And like that Ultimate Team is like for college football. Ultimate Team was definitely not the main focus.
No,
it was like Dynasty and Road to Glory. But for EAFC, Ultimate Team, I mean, look at they just ship out the same.
They do
swap for manager mode every time. But the Ultimate Team is what they care about.
They have the Ultimate Team there, but if they made that a live service, they wouldn't be able to just be like, "Hey, go spend $60, $70 on the game again," and then also have to redo your entire team. Because you would be able to keep your cards.
Well, they have to redo. They have to. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. Probably won't do it then. Okay. So I guess what else I'm looking forward to in 2025. Something that I feel like there has been talked about recently, and now it's kind of getting overshadowed by a different Marvel game, Rivals. But the Rise of Hydra game, the 1943 Captain America Black Panther game, like if that's going out this year, I think it's going to be really good. It's from Skydance.
I think that's what
the cinematic. We did see some footage earlier this year or last year, and like it looked really good. Like and it was in engine, I believe, too. So it's like
once we get the full reveal, once we get the full reveal with gameplay like breakdown and like what the game is about, and, like the actual like devs talking about it a little bit more, and we get like the press tour for it. I think that then it will start building hype because we haven't really had like a single player Marvel game of this scale ever. But in terms of like in recent years, have we
like Spider-Man?
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, well, even then, like that's like the only reason like that Spider-Man game is considered at that level, other than the budget, is because it was Insomniac.
Yes.
Like if it was just a Spider-Man
and now
game,
they are like they pretty much have free reign to do whatever they want in the Marvel universe because they've proven it. And maybe that's something else that's not coming out this year, the Wolverine game.
Everybody's gonna say the leaks, the leaks.
It's all in the big we're waiting on GTA 6 bubble.
I don't think they'd care. I think Sony would care more than Nintendo.
I think they care a little. Yeah, they care more than Nintendo, but I think everyone's still
cares
like
more than Nintendo. Nintendo does not give a fuck.
Nintendo does not care. I'm also looking forward to what else piqued my interest. I talked about Marvel, GTA 6. Yeah, because it's GTA 6 and it's going to be very important. There's also Tales of the Shire. Fun little. I love ordering stuff, so I'll try it. I don't know if it'll be good, but I'm gonna try it. And coming up soon. Avowed next month, about a month from now.
Avowed does come out.
It's Obsidian. I love Obsidian. They're also doing Outer Worlds.
That will not
Wilds.
Be
Outer Worlds.
That will not be coming.
Outer Worlds 2. Okay.
There's no way they're launching two games in the same year.
Yeah, but Obsidian does some really good stuff. So I'm really excited for that. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I didn't play a lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, but it looked really cool. So I'm going to give this one a try. We recently had some stuff go up on Insider about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So check that out. Yeah, and then we'll just sort of see how the rest of the year... new Backyard Sports game. An actual new one, not just like the old ones released on Steam.
I'm waiting.
I'm anyway.
I'm holding for that. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how modern
Doom: The Dark Ages, the Dying Light game that was supposed to be an expansion, but it's going to be a full release. But if you already bought the premium edition we talked about before, if you bought the premium edition of Dying Light 2, you just get it. You'll get it as if it were the expansion that you already paid for, which is cool. It kind of comes back to what I said at the beginning of the show, where I think we're still going to get a lot of really great games this year, but we'll probably still get more of the same games industry crap with layoffs and studios closures, and some things will get canceled and some things will underperform, and people who worked hard on these things will lose their jobs, and the same annoying people on Twitter will continue to be annoying. We just have to shout them down. And I really hope you're right about esports, because it's been a tough couple of years.
Yeah. I was just scrolling through like this list of games that are like been announced but don't have dates yet. And there's like some on here, like I'm excited for like the Dragon Quest 1+2 remake that is going to continue with Dragon Quest 3. I haven't played it yet, but I heard it's great. The remake for 3, so I'm excited to jump into all of those because I haven't played the Erdrick trilogy in forever. But I do want to highlight right underneath that is Duck Detective and the Ghost of Glamping, and Duck Detective and the Secret Salami, really good game. So I'm excited that there's that game coming out. Very fun. Games is going to be really weird this year. Hopefully we don't see as many layoffs. Hopefully we see more like support for devs long term, rather than just like, oh yeah, this project came out and it didn't get profitable. Let's just like close shop, or let's just cut costs and let's just do this. Like sustainability. Same thing I said with esports. Gaming needs a overhaul in their sustainability in terms of like development. Like don't go with the giant, let's put all the money into one project. Let's do smaller projects. Let's like publishers, let's partner with indie devs a little more. Let's branch out and get some more sustainability flowing. Let's have some fun there. But yeah, last thing I wanted to bring up before we call it, Scott. Let's do a little. I'm gonna pull up the current NFL bracket, playoff bracket.
Oh,
we're gonna
do sports ball.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little bit of sports because I know all of our
teams are out. Yeah, our teams are mine's been out for a lot. My team has been out a lot longer.
You were there when my team got out. I literally stopped focusing on the game halfway through the third quarter to come play Marvel Rivals with you guys.
you tuned it out.
So
Yeah.
let's just run through this real quick and give it a who we think's gonna win the next couple, because we're in the divisional round now. So
Yes.
Houston Texans versus Chiefs. Who you got?
I think it's the Chiefs. I know it's not a especially hot take, but I wouldn't say he's taking a step back, but that breakout sophomore season for CJ Stroud hasn't manifested. They're missing a lot of their offensive weapons. They've got no Tank Dell. They've got no Diggs. Nico Collins is still really good, but I just think, Mike, this Mahomes magic, man, I love this Mahomes kid. It's my real bad Chris Collinsworth, but I think it's the Chiefs. It's a home game. They don't, they're not gonna be asleep at a wheel after a bye. They're gonna come out and they're gonna take care of business. I don't know if Chiefs are gonna win the Super Bowl again, but I think they're gonna beat the Houston Texans.
Yep, I'm going Chiefs, and then for the exact same reasons you just said, I'm going Lions in the next one because it's Commanders at Lions. Exact same reason. Don't think the Commanders have the juice. I think they have more juice than the Texans do right now, purely because of no injuries. But I think they have less overall punch. I think the Lions are just too much.
This is Commanders Lions. Yeah, I think if I were a gambling man, and I am, this would be one where I would take the over. I think this is going to be a very high scoring game. I think the Lions take this one. I think it'll be close though. I think because they're gonna be like, oh, are the Commanders gonna steal another game late? But I think the Lions will. There will be a big fourth down play in the fourth quarter that the Lions don't have to go for, that they will go for, and they'll get it, and that'll pretty much spell the end of the game. But it'll be close, it'll be high scoring, but I think the Lions pull this up. Gibbs is just such a fucking monster. And then they've got so many great offensive weapons. Even though their defense has taken some hits. Their offense is just so humming because it's weird. It's like when you have a really good offensive line, your quarterback can do so much. I wonder if there were another NFC North team that maybe could get a better offensive line or just a better offense. And if we don't hire Ben Johnson, I'm going January 6th on Hollis Hall. I swear to God, this is a threat of terrorism. You're hearing this correctly. I will lose my mind if we don't land this. Do not hire Mike McDaniels. I don't care if Hunter tried to gaslight me into thinking it'll be a good idea. It won't be. Give me Ben Johnson.
I thought you were talking about the Vikings for a little bit after how many times Sam Darnold got sacked.
No, but I saw a lot of this is gonna be weird to say. I saw a lot of Caleb and Sam Darnold in that game where it's like, yeah, he's running for his life immediately, but there's also a lot of those sacks where it's like, you got to get the ball out, man. You got to get the ball out a little faster. But the difference is Caleb is a rookie who had a bad head coach and a bad offensive line all year and had bad play calling. But he's not completely without fault. He did a lot of dumb rookie stuff that dumb rookies are expected to do. I think CJ Stroud last year kind of broke what normal expectations for a rookie quarterback. Yeah. And then of course Jane Daniels had a great year and is having a great year in the Commanders. And so now the Bears fans are even like, every dumb person with a sports podcast to go, oh, did the Bears take the right quarterback? If Jane Daniels were drafted by the Bears, he'd be dead. He would have been sacked in season 12 and they would have had to wheel him off a Soldier Field. He would have died. And Caleb Williams would be in the playoffs right now with the Commanders if they had been swapped.
Look,
it's yeah. Back to okay. I knew I was gonna get. I was gonna get derailed.
We're here for it. Okay, Rams, Eagles. I think the next two aren't even really. I think they're going to be shootouts, but I'm pretty definitive on both of my answers for these. I'm just going Eagles. I'm
going with the Rams on this one. I think people have been sleeping on the Rams.
I agree. I agree.
They've been sleeping on the Rams. They are just a really well coached team. They've got a really good quarterback. He's got really good offensive weapons. I think they needed some time they had a lot of injuries to deal with. They lost Kupp for a long time. Puka Puka carrying the load last year kind of caught up to him, so he needed some time to get rested up. But this defense is really solid. I think it's a really good team, and I can't shake the feeling that there's always going to be that Eagles collapse. Like there's going to be something wrong. Like there's always like something weird about this team. Like AJ Brown is having a doing nothing all game and is reading a book on the sideline. It's like Sirianni is just like a fucking crazy person, but not the fun kind of crazy person like Dan Campbell. It's like something's
off. It feels off.
The only thing that like could convince me, but the only thing that like makes me want to just go with the Eagles is honestly because there's a Saquon.
Yep, that's why.
Who like if the league were fair would be in the MVP conversation. But it will never go. It's never going to go to a running back ever again, unless like every quarterback just forgets how to play football. But he's been just so great that I could see if the Eagles win, and they very well could, but I am still going to take the Rams. If the Eagles win, I think it's just because Saquon's just going to ram it down their throats over and over again.
With that offensive line and Saquon, I just can't. I have to go with the Eagles.
Yeah. But I think eventually that the Eagles collapse will come.
Oh yeah.
And I could see it happening against Rams, and I think Sean McVay is just a better coach, and I think I think he could just outcoach Sirianni, and if the offense has a good game, they win in a shootout.
Next is the actual MVP conversation with
it's gonna be such a good game.
With Lamar versus Allen, and the Bills versus the Ravens. I'm going Bills. I've had Bills for like all season just because I really want my dad to finally see the Bills win a Super Bowl. I've been on the Bills all season to go to the Super Bowl and win it.
I would be so happy. No, sorry, go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
I would be so happy with the Bills Super Bowl. Like with the perfect year for Josh Allen, MVP, gets engaged, like doesn't have nearly the same weapons he's had in the past. Like he doesn't have Diggs, he didn't have I almost said Gabe Davis. Like he's a good wide receiver. Jesus Christ. Gabe Davis was good like 2 years ago, and then like he had that like 3 touchdown game against the Chiefs, but they still somehow lost in the championship game. I think the Ravens are gonna win. I think I don't see the Bills having an answer to Lamar and Derrick Henry.
I don't think the Steelers didn't have an answer for the two of them, and they have a better defense.
Yes, that's so. I think this could be another shootout, but I could also see the Ravens defense really stepping up.
I think this is going to be like a 40-plus point game for both teams, and I think it's going to come down to which quarterback hits the most.
Yeah, and so it's the movable object versus the stoppable force. Which team is going to have which quarterback is going to have their game?
It's going to come down to
who's going to have the game. Who's going to have the game where the next day on ESPN, Stephen A. Smith and Russ First Taker go, but he still can't win in the playoffs, and we saw it here. But so which one's it going to be?
Well, wouldn't that just be Lamar because Allen's at least been to the championship game.
Right, but he hasn't been to a Super Bowl. Has Lamar not been to an AFC Championship game? Okay,
I think meltdown Lamar is a thing.
I think this changes because and same reason why I think that like I'm not super set. I'm not lock in the Rams pick because the Eagles have Saquon Barkley. The reason I'm so in on the Ravens because of Derrick Henry, not just because of what he can do, and like obviously he has power and strength and all that, but every time he like breaks through a gap and he hits that extra speed that he has, it always surprises me. I'm like, how is he so fast? How is a man of that size and like 31 years old still this fast? And it's just like watching him dust defenders and while also being like 20 pounds heavier than them, and it's all muscle, is just a sight to behold every time. And I think with him there and with they have 2 great tight ends in Likely and Andrews. And like Rashad Bateman looks like a great wide receiver with this team. Oh, and Zay Flowers, who I feel like we haven't seen in a long time. I just think they have a lot more weapons on the offensive side, and I just don't see the Bills stopping them. Whereas I think the Ravens could get a few close stops. And I think the Ravens take this one. And so those are my big upsets. It's Ravens and Rams will both go into the opponent's stadium and they will win.
Fair enough. And then the last question of the podcast: how do you feel about the impending Oklahoma City Thunder Cleveland Cavaliers finals?
I'm finally getting a little bit more into basketball and watching, and I was looking at the Cavs record. Of course, Kira's
ready for us to be done.
Kira's like, thunder up. She loves Shay. I was just so stunned at how good the Cavs record was. Looking at them like, this can't be real. They're not like 32-4. They're
on 73 win pace right now.
It's insane. Like, it's like I'm really excited that they're.
Did you watch
really
the games?
I didn't watch those games. I haven't been watching a ton of basketball.
The Thunder Cavs game, the first. I
always get more into it.
Best game of the season.
Yeah, I always get more into it when football ends and it's right around the All-Star game and it comes back from All-Star break and there's usually been like a trade or something. It's like, okay, now I'm locked into basketball. Well, how are my Bulls doing? Oh, we're 500 again. Great. We're just stuck in the land of mediocrity forever.
I went to the Thunder game right before that the Cavs Thunder game. So I went to the Thunder Celtics game. And the Thunder won that one pretty handily in the fourth. And then both of the teams were 15-0 or 15 game win streaks going into playing each other as the top seed in each conference. And everybody was like, "There's no way this game lives up to the hype," and it lived up to everything. And the Cavs won.
Hell yeah!
And it's like whatever Kenny Atkinson is giving those players in Cleveland right now, just keep giving it to them. Like, it's insane. If we get 7 games of that in the finals, I'd be happier than I have been in a long time watching the NBA Finals. So, and I say that as like, I'm not really a Celtics fan anymore. Like, I don't really have like team anymore, just because I just enjoy basketball. And if you ever cover the league as like a journalist, you kind of just lose affiliation.
The Rockets are the 2nd seed.
Oh yeah.
What?
Dude, the West is weird.
The West is very weird.
The West is weird this year, dude.
Like, Thunder being good. Okay, that's been talked. The bright future Thunder.
They were the first seed last year. Like,
this was coming. Rockets being good. Okay, Memphis, that makes sense. Denver, that makes sense. Clippers, Dallas. Okay, Lakers, Wolves, Kings, Spurs. I thought would be better, but it's still early in the Wemby days. Suns not that great. Warriors not that great, but they're getting older. And this doesn't look too because Zion's been out for most of it. The Pelicans are stinking.
Zion got suspended.
He got suspended for like one game though, right? Because he missed the plane.
One game because he's
one of those like fake NBA accounts said like said that because he was like ordering food or something.
No, he missed a team flight.
Okay. Here's the thing. The league's gonna we should get Cavs Thunder, but the league's gonna go, oh, you want Celtics Mavericks, right? It's like, no. No.
I don't want a repeat of that. That was like I love
that was last year, yeah.
I love the Celtics, but that series was bad.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy watching that. I want to see
I
want to see Thunder Cavs. I want to see exciting.
I know what the Bears have to do. I don't know what the Bulls.
The Bulls don't have anything to do.
There's not. Yeah,
they're going to trade. It's Nikola
purgatory.
Vucevic at the trade deadline because there's a bunch.
It's actual purgatory.
They're going to trade Vucevic at the trade deadline because a bunch of teams need a center right now. They're going to be stuck with Zach LaVine until he's 50, and then maybe Kobe White continues to play okay, and that's your future. Until you get lucky and get a decent high round draft pick and actually do anything with a GM.
Man, if Lonzo hadn't gotten hurt that year we got all our new guys, I don't know where we would be. Like, we were first in the East after like 30 games. And then he got hurt.
You probably would have had like, if Lonzo wasn't hurt, you'd probably have like another 2 years of being like the 6th seed. Which is better than what you have now.
No, I think we would have been top 4. If Lonzo hadn't gotten hurt the year we got DeMar,
that year I think you would have been.
Caruso.
I think that year you would have had like a shot at like a top 3 seed. After that, I think you would have been 6th seed for 2 years, and then you would have fallen off.
So I don't know. I don't know what we're doing.
I also don't know what we're doing. And thank you for listening to the podcast. We don't know what we're doing either. That was your sports segment. I hope 2025. Oh, what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Bears, don't fuck this up. Just don't fuck it up. Like Ben Johnson.
We're gonna come
Ben
back
Johnson's
for next week's
#1
recording, and they're gonna have fucked it up, and I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the Dolphins defensive coordinator or something stupid.
We're gonna have
the Notre Dame coach.
Scott's weekly Bears segment where he talks about like how disappointed he is, and they're not even playing right now. But yeah,
that's my secret, Cap. I'm always disappointed.
Yeah. Oh well, you know what? You're not going to be disappointed in when we play Marvel Rivals later.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So maybe you'll finally have that Iron
Man. Magneto.
Fear Magneto. Just like constant, or you're just going to get bounced on by Mr. Fantastic all night. So that's too.
He'll be bouncing on it.
He'll be bouncing on it. He'll be bouncing on it.
Dude,
hopefully,
tricks on it. All right.
Hopefully, you listeners have a fantastic 2025. Let us know what game you're most excited for, or if you have like a hot take of what you think 2025 is going to shape up to be for like a game or just the internet or whatever you have thoughts on. Keep it civil, but yeah, let us know. We'll be back next week. Who knows what we're going to talk about next week? Maybe it'll be the VTuber episode that I need to get scheduled and worked on, or maybe we'll throw together a topic and discuss other things that disappoint us in life. So you never know with us. Scott, thank you for joining me. Listeners, thank you for watching. And we will see you next time.